fun playing through this thing. It's like coming home, you know? Instantly brings me back to those amazing 90s tones. I'd like to say I remember them from when I was a kid, but I wasn't born yet. No, of course I was. I know some of you out there weren't. The Dual Rectifier was introduced in 1992 with this ad. I remember it so well. I thought it was gonna be like a blues rock amp, like a ZZ Top amp because of the armadillo, I guess. I was totally wrong about that. Then I had made a trip out to the Mesa Boogie store in Hollywood, and while I was in there, I heard a sound coming from the back room that blew my mind. I was like, what is that? The guy's like, come on back, let's take a look. It was the Dual Rectifier half stack. In 1992, this thing just blew me away. I could not believe it. So much bottom end, massive gain, big tone. It was just like love at first sight. And I took it home. Me and that rectifier had some good times, I tell you. When you heard a Dual Rectifier on a recording, it was instantly captivating and attention grabbing. And it wasn't just me that thought this, because like by the late 90s, you couldn't turn on the radio without hearing a Dual Rectifier on a band. It was everywhere. And it wasn't just like Korn and Metallica. It was also like Hootie and the Blowfish, Dave Matthews Band, Tears for Fears. Everyone had adopted that Dual Rectifier sound. And it's become its own food group. You know how there's categories of amp, like there's a UK EL34, UK EL84, a USA 6L6, and the California. That is the California. It is iconic. So here we are. Mesa has introduced the 90s Dual Rectifier. And it's not just an exact clone of a particular iteration or revision, because there have been revisions. C, D, E, F, G. There's triple rectifiers, solo rectifiers, recto verbs. I mean, there's been a lot of versions. But Mesa Boogie had looked at all of the feedback over the years, the very intense, passionate vocal feedback. I mean, you go on a forum and ask about a revision and there are opinions. They built what they think is the best 90s Dual Rectifier. And man, this sounds 100% Dual Rectifier, and it's giving everything I want from that tone group, including a brand new clean channel, which is kind of welcome. There was something about the original clean I kind of liked, but this one is a nice improvement, which even opens up the versatility of the amp even further. One of the great things about the Dual Rectifier is it's really straightforward. The controls are pretty simple, actually. But before we get deeper into the controls, I know a lot of you are here just for the high gain channel 2, red, bold. So let's just dive in there and we'll come back and talk about the controls in a minute. Now back to the controls. So Dual Rectifier is not just a cool name. It's not like flux capacitor. It actually has two rectifiers in it. There's the solid state, the silicon diodes, or the vacuum tubes. I am set up on the silicon diodes, so that's like a more firm, heavy thing, high powered. And this is the tube rectifier. I like the silicon. It pushes the sound way forward, which is what the rectifier is all about. The dual rectifier, that is. Now, there's also this bold or spongy mode. Let me show you that. We've been on bold because it's awesome. It's really hard to come back off of bold and silicon diodes, but the options there, it does sort of smooth things out when you go to the tube rectifier, and things get like a little juicier. But if you want bold aggression, well, you stay on bold in the silicon diodes. The 90s dual rectifier has channel cloning, so channel 2 can be red, but it can also be orange mode. Channel 1 is normally orange mode. You have a choice of clean or variable gain, which is the classic vintage orange mode, or you could switch it over to red. Now, when you do clone, they are not one-to-one because the channels have some differences in their architecture, but it allows you to get like another high gain mode going for 2-channel amp of just high gain, if that's your party. Now this is channel 1 switched over to red. Clearly they're not one-to-one, but it does give you other color options. Similarly, channel 2 can switch over to orange. Here is the red version of channel 2. And here's orange. Again, you got options. You don't ever need to go full gain on this. It has a ton of gain, so if you have a low output guitar, you could still get into that sweet spot of chunk, but if your guitar gets a full-bodied sound, you could go between 11 and 1 o'clock and have a lot of different awesome big gain tones. Over to channel 1's vintage orange mode. the variable gain on orange channel is still too much gain for you, you could switch over to the new clean mode. Clean. The effects loop on this also is pretty switchable. So you can set it just for the red channel, just for the orange channel, or always on, or you could set it as your master volume for your master volumes. So right now I have these master volumes set. So this is the new 90s Dual Rectifier from Mesa Boogie. This thing is an absolute blast to play through. Just from the first chord, I mean, it's like, oh yes, love it. So thank you to the Mesa gang for sending me a 90s Dual Rectifier to check out and show you. There are gonna be some links below to my Patreon, to some sounds, to presets, to all kinds of good stuff. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.